What's up, everybody? Welcome to Leaders of Lifestyle, a podcast all about real estate, sports, and entertainment. Take a deep dive with me into the world of high-end lifestyle and get exposed to the different leaders behind the scenes of it all. So let's get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Leaders of Lifestyle podcast. I'm Michael Ferraro, your host for the day, and we have wonderful, special, super guests today. We have Aurora Consulting, and that is Linda and Trevor. Linda and Trevor are going to fill you guys with a ton of information that you need to know to help you personally and your business. But we got to learn a lot about Linda and Trevor first to kind of give you guys some perspective. But how rude of me as a guest host. Linda and Trevor, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thanks,
Mike.
So
I called you Mike.
See, we're buddies. Now, some of you that are watching this, you'll see beautiful Linda and you'll see beautiful Trevor. Trevor is downing his Roxbury gangster hat there that he put on just for us. He can also be a gnome with his hat. So it's a.
If this thing gets boring, I'm going to take a little nap.
That's right, and you could just sleep in there. So for those who can't see us, you are really missing out. You need to check us out on YouTube to be able to get the full experience of these two. So please do that as well. Linda and Trevor, thank you so much for being on. You guys are at a Roxbury, Connecticut currently, correct?
That's
Yes.
correct. Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
So let's give everybody a little perspective. Linda, Trevor, why don't we start with you, Linda? Let's talk a little bit about who you are, how you kind of came up, and how you ended up in Aurora Consulting with Trevor.
So besides that, I'm a Leo and I love the beach. Not that,
Sure.
right? Okay.
Right.
All right. Just want to make sure that I was on the right show. So anyway, my name is Linda Ray, and I'm originally from the historic village of Sleepy Hollow. And I grew up in the insurance business. I've been an insurance professional for over 30 years now. I started when I was 3, and I have basically accomplished all different aspects of insurance, whether it was corporate or independent agency, ocean marine, commercial lines, life and health, financial planning, Series 6 and 63, so on and so forth. So I rode the wave with that. I owned an agency for a short time. I sold my share of the agency back to my sister, and Trevor, he'll get into what he does, but we've been together for 6 years. We live together. We work together. He's my non-husband, live-in lover.
Oh.
So when he retired from his profession, we decided we wanted to start another business, because who doesn't like to start over when you're in your mid-50s and your late 50s?
Speak for yourself.
Right. But
I'm 36.
when I sold the agency, I was aspiring to be a consultant on the marketing side to help other insurance agents and brokers with their marketing. I found a lot of success, especially in the advent of social media. And I really saw some quantifiable results. And I also saw that the insurance industry always lagged a little bit behind with certain progressive strategies and tactics when it came to marketing. So I kind of launched into trying to help other insurance brokers. But I quickly found out that it's more fun to do the marketing for your own business.
Yeah.
It's just more fun to have that creative control and actually just even, be a little bit more patient with the results that happen thereafter, instead of being hired and then, 5 minutes later. So what's happening? Is it happening yet? Is it happening?
Right.
Yes.
So
Social media has an art to it, which is not you put up a tweet and then the phone rings 12 minutes later. Hey, I saw you. I read your tweet. I got to do business with you.
And a lot of insurance professionals, when you're being hired and you're writing that check, when you hire someone and writing that check, it's sort of like, okay, so when does it happen? When does it happen? The reason I hired you, when does that happen? And so there was a very short shelf life of patience. And I said, you know what, Trevor, you need to retire and we need to start our own thing so I can do the marketing for our own thing. And thus...
So I retired at 32.
Yeah.
Got it.
So Aurora Consulting has... Right, exactly. So Aurora Consulting sort of morphed from a marketing consultant agency to a financing brokerage within the span of a couple of years.
We have a
right?
pretty fun story to share. I guess after I put everybody to sleep with my story, we'll share the story. And by the way, anybody wants to borrow the cap to take a nap while I'm talking about me, you're welcome to borrow it.
Okay.
We'll share the story about how the Aurora Consulting converted from a marketing company to a finance company,
Yes.
literally
Overnight.
Yeah.
outside the road here in Roxbury on the little country road we lived on,
Yeah.
as we walked home in the dark from a neighbor's house, which was freaking me out because I grew up in New York City, and we'll get to that. So,
Well, now you gave. I mean, now I feel like that's a
Yeah, you got to keep
trailer
going.
that you just told. So you might as well. You want to finish the
you know,
story? Or?
showbiz, Michael, in showbiz, they always tell you, keep looking for more.
Well, there's not much else. There's not much else. Literally, I was doing insurance. I tried to get out of the insurance industry 3 times over the span of 30 years.
Yeah.
And it was like they kept bringing me back.
In,
You know? Yeah. So then finally in 2017, the decision was, okay, listen, there's other things, I've reinvented myself. This will be the 3rd time. So, and I think you understand when you transition, it's like you want to try something different because there's some other creative outlets besides, 30 years of doing insurance.
Right.
Gone.
Right. Exactly.
So,
Trevor, you're up.
Hey! Sorry, I dozed off a little bit.
oh my God.
Well, you said insurance. As soon as you said insurance, I fell asleep.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, by the way, Michael, if you've ever gone out to a networking event with insurance, by the way, in competitors, I was a mortgage banker for 30 years. I wouldn't be caught dead hanging out with my competitors. These insurance crazy people, they all hang out together. We
like each other.
And if you hang out with these people at a bar, forget about it. So it is not boring. We'll say that. But otherwise, it's boring. So my exciting story starts during my birthday party in 1989.
Oh, gosh. I know where this is going.
And I get the phone call from my corporate job. Hey, we're out of business.
Good luck.
There's nowhere for you to come back to tomorrow. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you also, you don't qualify for the severance package, even though you're, 3rd tier executive management.
This is lending? You were in lending at the time?
Happy birthday. I'm sorry?
What you were in lending at the time? Mortgages?
I was in retail.
Okay.
I worked for a retail electronics firm in New York City area called Crazy Eddie, which was notorious for their crazy commercials. And I had started there as a kid, $4.75 an hour, worked my way up to
$4.75 an hour was literally
$4.75 an hour.
$18.75.
Okay, 1882, but okay. And so I worked my way up from customer service to manager to district manager, regional manager. I was riding high, and then the company is gone. So he wishes me happy birthday. He hangs up, and 2 weeks later, I started my career in the mortgage business because I wanted to work on commission and never be beholden to a corporate paycheck ever again. And secondly, I wanted to buy a house. I wanted to learn what it took to become a homeowner. And the plan originally was, and I went back to school to study accounting and economics. The plan was, okay, I'm going to learn what it takes. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to help my mom and dad buy their first house. And then I'm out of the mortgage business, and I'm going to become an accountant. Speak about falling asleep. Holy cow.
Wow, joke's on you.
Problem was, I discovered I really loved the idea of, wait a minute. So hold on a second. It says loan officer on my business card. And I work for the bank. So I get to give people money to make their dreams come true? Wait a minute. And there you go, 30 years.
That's some mindset stuff right there. That's like a mindset shift.
Don't call me Trev, call me Trevor. That's mindset stuff. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. It is.
And so 30 years of doing that, and I've put hundreds and hundreds of families in homes with mortgage loans that other people, my colleagues, bosses, underwriters said, you can't do that. And we got them done.
But he was the bank, and many people misunderstood thinking he was a broker.
Yeah.
And of course, that would drive him crazy as as a label. He's like, I'm not a broker. I'm the bank.
I'm a loan officer for a bank.
Yeah.
So that transition, when we converted Aurora Consulting into a finance business, was pretty easy to do. I had to learn a different aspect. I had to learn the business financing aspect and SBA loans and things. But
And I had been working with business owner clients I had built up the commercial lines department and really enjoyed working with business owners. If I had to write a homeowner's policy or an auto policy, it's one of the reasons I tried to get out of the business in 1999. I was like, I don't even want to talk about auto insurance. And
well, we met because of a homeowner's insurance policy while I was a mortgage banker. We met on Facebook.
Well, let's talk about that before we get into even how Aurora Consulting started, because I don't know how you do this podcast and keep going forward without understanding you two, because so much of this is you two. Your personalities are unbelievable, and it's very rare you see the personalities that you guys have for what you do, and I think that's why it's so attractive. It's just like, wow, this is amazing. But this is a story of you guys. So let's talk about that. How did you meet? How did this whole thing start?
Well,
wait. You want the Trevor version or the Linda version?
No, we're going to sanitize.
Two versions.
We're going to sanitize it.
Oh, there's definitely two versions.
So say the version that doesn't get you put in the doghouse. That's all. That's
Yeah.
Once upon a time on Facebook.
Yeah.
So on Facebook, I don't know, it was Facebook 2011, and I liked a business page, and this was 2011. Facebook is a lot different now. It's a little.
It wasn't a business.
It's kind of annoying now, but we always have to be grateful for Facebook because we're together. So I ended up liking a business page that came into my
feed,
purview somehow, my feed, and the owner of the bank
the owner of my bank.
The owner of Trevor's bank was like, my gosh, these people liked our page. Go call them. They're in your territory. So,
by the way, this is a guy who could barely spell the word social media.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
We'll just leave it at that.
So he ends up calling me. Trevor calls me and he tells me that he's this banker and he has homeowners and sometimes they need homeowners insurance. And I was like, great.
Yeah, but was Trevor like Trevor, or was Trevor like Cool Breeze Trevor?
No, there was no Cool Breeze Trevor. No.
Trevor's like Trevor all the time.
Trevor was like Angry Gnome Trevor. He was going through.
Step away from the microphone.
He was going through some challenges, so he was really wound tight.
Don't call me a hobbit. They're smaller than gnomes.
There you go.
Really, really wound tight, and that did not work in our favor because something went awry with the first homeowner policy that we were able to experiment on how this would work, because it was 2011. So I think Irene happened, and
that's right.
Yeah, and Sandy hadn't even happened yet.
It's literally a couple of weeks before Superstorm Sandy that we closed the deal. It was a first-time buyer in the Bronx, and 2 weeks after closing, the insurance carrier that her agency placed the client with. Now, mind you, the client did not want to take my referral. He wanted to go to his Allstate guy, and I said to him, Allstate does not write homeowners insurance in New York at the time. This was 2011.
Moratoriums and stuff.
Yeah, so anyway.
Anyway, with the insurance, all kinds of new guidelines were coming up with, it was literally 17 inches from the water. And so they said they're not going to write it, and they issue a 30-day intent to cancel. And 30 days in the insurance world when you're an independent agency is a very ample amount of time to pivot and get something else going with other options we had. But we didn't have that time. Trevor's timeline hijacked without me knowing the expectation of he wanted that done overnight. And I didn't handle homeowners insurance, so I deferred to our personal lines department. And unbeknownst to me, it was not exactly at the top of the pile. So I got a phone call where I was chewed out. I was completely speechless. I did not know about this timeline. So he
chewed you out?
No, Angry Gnome Trevor chewed me out and basically hung up the phone on me. And I was like, oh boy,
Trevor.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not a hobbit, damn it. I'm a gnome.
So anyway, short story longer, he 2.5 years go by. Nothing
from that call?
from the call. 2.5 years.
We don't unfriend each other on Facebook, by the way. We were friends on Facebook originally from 2011.
Yeah.
And we did not have any.
We didn't have any.
How we connected.
We didn't have any contact, but we didn't unfriend each other. I think I wanted to keep my eye on this guy. What's this clown doing? Like, what is up with this guy?
I was a clown. I was definitely a clown.
So anyway,
I was not gnome status.
he didn't have any presence on Facebook. He was 40 pounds heavier, so he was a bigger dude. He was a bigger dude. So anyway, one day I get a message on Facebook from him saying, "Hey, would you mind calling me at this number?" And I'm like, I really was afraid to call this guy. And I said, I was curious, but I was like, oh, what does this clown want, right? But I was curious. So I call him and I'm like, hey, it's Linda Ray. Oh, I love your energy on Facebook. Oh, thanks for calling me back.
I was transitioning into gnome at that point.
So I said, what's up? So I said, what's going on?
Happening.
He's like, yeah. I said, what's going on? He goes, I wanted to invite you to an event. I go, why? You hate me, remember?
Different Trevor. That was the old Trevor. This is the new Trevor.
He says, I was going through some stuff.
I was an angry guy, and now I'm a happy guy, and
Yeah.
you should come to this networking event. Actually, the bottom line is that, I'm just really a great closer as a salesperson. That's really all that is. The heck with the different Trevor, the new Trevor, the gnome, the hobbit. I'm a closer.
Yeah,
and
all around closing all the time.
I'm coming to this networking group that I was in.
So I ended up going, but I never joined the group, and we ended up hitting it off, ironically, with all that baggage and history behind us. And he started sending us more deals. We did not screw them up. We ended up writing 8 new policies in a month.
Wait a minute. I have to add. Okay. So 2 questions here.
Yeah.
One, Trevor, did you invite her to the networking event because you were like, I want to invite her to a networking event? Or you're like,
oh, no.
I got to get somebody. I'm going to meet my quota.
Yes.
No, it wasn't that. It was actually a lot worse than that. So one of my closest friends is an attorney. Is an attorney. Her name is Laura Brown. She's a real estate attorney in the Bronx. She's one of my dearest friends, her and her husband, Eddie. Eddie is the executive director for City of Stamford EMS.
Okay.
And they're great people, and I love them dearly. But Laura's from the Bronx. And first, Laura calls me up back in 2014. She's like, Trevor, I'm the chapter leader of a BNI networking group in Scarsdale. You're going to join. We need a mortgage guy. I'm like, wait, Scarsdale?
7 a.m.?
Not my market. 7:30 a.m.? Oh, hell to the no. I live on Long Island. And I'll never get a referral from any of these people. Not my target market. Trevor, you're going to come to the thing. You're going to join. I will blankety blank kill you. Okay, Laura. I come. I join. I start drinking the Kool-Aid. In the short time I was there, it turned out I've handed out more referrals across the table in my 5 months in the group than anyone had done in the previous 2 years. So
I was drinking the Kool-Aid.
And I got no referrals.
No referrals.
But then I get another phone call. Trevor, I know you know people. We need another insurance person in the group. Find me another insurance person. Click. Shoot, who do I know? Oh, what about that Linda Ray? Ooh, that didn't go well. What the hell? Put on the sales hat. Do what you got to do, Trevor. Hey, remember me? And then,
And so that was
Okay,
it. So I ended up.
I told you it was worse.
Okay. So you got Trevor, who was like, has figured this out, but I'm such a great closer that I can just, I could do it. And then you got Linda, who's like, I'm really great at business. I don't know who this guy is. I got to keep my eye on him. And you just happen to call her. And then you go from that, and this is the first time you ever met in person.
Yes.
Correct.
So that must have been it. It must have been the sparks fly, eyes across the room, slow motion, and that when you saw each other.
Not quite.
None of that at all.
No.
Although we did sit next to each other that first breakfast, 7:30 in the morning.
And we had fun.
And we were texting each other while sitting next to each other while the other people were doing their speech. Good day. I'm Henry from ABC. I don't know what I do. And this is what we do. While they're doing that, we're texting each other.
This is like like a high school thing here. You saw him.
Well, I went to an all-boys high school, so I wouldn't know about that.
Oh, right, okay. So wherever, college, high school, whatever, middle school, whatever. And you had to have like kind of had little mini crushes on each other at the time, right? Were that?
I did not have a crush on him. No,
Not my type.
not my type.
So you,
I
you
mean,
get there, you're there with each other, you're texting each other, but you're like, not my type while you're doing that.
Yeah,
No.
not my type.
Okay,
All
so
big.
so tell me how does it happen? I'm
Wait,
lost.
are there any children watching this?
I know. Is this
No,
is this
this is
PG-13?
adults only. No, I don't know. I don't know. India, there might be. There might be kids in India. I don't know.
Well, so I sent her 8 more deals, and they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And she won my trust back.
Yeah.
And she did not actually join the business group. And Laura Brown didn't hold it against me, thank God, because
No.
I would not be here alive today if Laura
There was
Brown.
there was a separate agenda anyway for the whole reason why I was coming in as an insurance person. They were trying to squeeze somebody out.
But anyway, so I sent
Yeah.
her 8 deals, did a fantastic job. So it's coming. It was near the end. It was December of 2014, and I get a message from Linda, an email, saying, "Hey, I'm going away for the holiday over Christmas.
I was going to Puerto Rico for Christmas.
But when I come back, I'd like to take you out to lunch to say thank you." And
yeah.
so
And he said, "Can we meet at 4 so I can have a whiskey?" And I said, "You're a grown ass adult. Why do you need to? You can have a whiskey at lunch." So
Wait a minute. Okay. Wait, hold
I
on.
was transitioning. What can I tell you?
He was.
but I also was sort of like, I don't want to go out at night with this guy. Like, let's just have
Wait,
lunch.
so you asked him for a completely professional lunch date?
Yes. Yeah. As a
And
relationship
then next thing you know, we're
building.
making out at the bar.
So we did. So I did concede on the 4
Yeah.
p.m. Yeah. So we
Yeah,
did.
then we were making
All right,
out at the bar.
Okay. Really, I thought this was the show. Was
I wanted to go right for
I thought this was disaster finance.
I wanted to go right for the R restricted 17 rating. I wanted to go right to the R
It's gonna be
rating.
one hell of a show, guys. I don't know.
So we ended up meeting at 4:00 for happy hour. After all, I conceded on that, and we started. So we were having some cocktails. I didn't eat. I got a little lightheaded. We kissed at the bar.
No, we made out at the bar.
And anyway, whatever. And then he tried to ask me out on a real date, like an official date, like I'd like to take you out to dinner kind of date. And I said, "I'm so sorry. I might have misled you by making out with you at the bar while having drinks." And I said, "I'm not really interested, but thank you." And he just persisted and kept asking.
I don't take no for an answer.
And
Closure.
yeah, and so so then, we went out a couple times and just kind of kept it clean.
But
And,
Trevor was into you, and Linda, you were kind of a little more hesitant, and then over time, he just did it. What happened? He was just like, you were just like, all right, this guy, he's just.
well, what happened was, yeah. So what happened was we ended up going to a networking event at Laura Brown's house.
See how Laura Brown keeps coming back into this story?
Laura Brown, as a real estate attorney, she every January, at the end of January, she would have an annual appreciation gathering for
Her post-holiday
Yeah,
party.
for, like,
Instead of a
strategic-
Christmas party, she had a
Yeah.
Christmas party at her
strategic
house.
alliances and clients and other, respected professionals that are in her sphere of influence, right? So he had invited me to that, and he said, "It'll be really good for you to meet some of these people," and it was true. So
And there was nothing between. I mean, she was done. She
Yeah.
was not having it.
I was really
She was
like,
not
"I'm
going
not
out
kidding.
with me.
I'm not interested."
Kidding. We have a professional relationship. That's it. And I said, "Well, don't forget, Laura Brown's party is on January 30th, so you got to come. It'll be great for your practice, for your business."
I was like, "You're 20 years older than my target market of who I'm trying to date."
"Wait a minute."
So anyway,
Oh boy.
so we go to the party, and okay, so Michael, legit, I don't know what happened because I hadn't even had anything to drink yet, really, and I was like, I really liked how he was smooth. Like, he was friends with everybody. He was funny. He was very entertaining. He was just like flitting about and talking to everybody. And I was like, you should give this guy a chance. He seems like a really nice guy. And
That was going on in your head.
that was going on in my head. And
I had also lost 40 pounds by then.
so yeah, so I said, you should give this guy a chance. I felt like it was like I was watching myself with how he was socializing and interacting with people, and I really kind of, dug it. So I thought I could relate, not saying that I'm like all that, but I'm just saying I could relate to him. So anyway, that was January 31st. I think it was a Friday in 2015.
It was a Saturday.
It was? I swear it was a Friday. But anyway.
No, you're right. It was a Friday.
It was a Friday. Well, then anyway, short story, even longer. I think I said that before. Valentine's Day, 2 weeks later, was our first official date where I was not in denial about liking him, that I was not trying to fight it. I was not resisting it. And then
I made a 35-pound blue cheese and apple quiche. And we have more than a few friends who are restaurant owners who, when I tell this part of the story, they all look at me like,
who makes a quiche?
you made a quiche?
But anyway.
It was Valentine's Day.
You
made a quiche?
We were inseparable after that. After that, inseparable.
Yeah,
and then he moved in with me June 15th, same year. So like, what is that, 4 months later?
What year? Later? What year did you move in together?
2015.
2015.
So
2015.
So that is how it happened. Well,
that is how.
Well, we left out a lot of lascivious details.
We left out a lot of stuff.
If you thought the making out at the bar was lascivious, you would be very wrong.
Yeah,
compared to the real lascivious.
Anyway, anyway, it was fun, and so there you go, and that's the story.
So then that leads to, because I think first of all, that story is almost identical to me and my wife's. It's just,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, you tell.
Same exact story.
Well, this is.
Yeah, I have the same basic story. I mean, obviously, there's two sides to every story. So my wife could probably tell the different side of it, and we have different occupations. I was a phys ed teacher. She was a fifth grade teacher. I was a swim coach, and she was a gymnastics coach. And I was teaching. I was one of those teachers. I was part time, so I would go from school to school to school to school. Like I would do a class here and a class here. I was a traveling teacher, and she was a fifth grade teacher. So I never knew her before then, and I was in the gym, and I was talking to the other gym teacher, and I see this girl walk by me in the doorway, and I was like, I said, who is that? And the guy said, that's Becky, that's the fifth grade teacher. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go see if she needs any help with anything that might happen. She's out there, and Becky is extremely strong. She is extremely extroverted. She is the center of the world, and she's a people person. There's nobody who doesn't love Becky. She is everything that I'm not at times. I'm very introverted. I'm not always a people person. She is that. And I just said, she was carrying mats for the gymnastics girls who were going to do a demonstration. I said, do you need any help with anything? And she looked at me with this face that and I was... She would tell the story where like I'm a meathead, I'm a big, working out guy. But she looked at me with this face of like, no, absolutely not. Now she had been engaged at the time, and I didn't know that. Ooh. I had no idea. So I go in, I go back in there, and I said, well, I don't know who she is, but she does not like me, and that's for sure. So I'm like, okay, whatever. This is at the end of the school year. The following school year, I was coaching seriously, and I was state coach of the year. I was very good, and I get a call and I said, I'm being told that I have to do after school for a teacher. I have to watch a class after school, and I don't really know who this is, but I can't do that. I have practice. I need to go. And the principal of that school basically said, I don't really care what you have. You're going to cover that class. And I told the athletic director, I'm not covering that class. The athletic director basically said, you're covering that class. So I'm not in a good mood. I'm already just on edge, and I don't know whose class this is. And I go up there, and it's her. And and she's looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and I just open the door, and I go in, and I'm like, are you gonna need me today? And she looks at me, and she's just like, I'm gonna need you every day. Like, it's not like in a good way. Not like in a good way.
Oh!
Like, every day. And like that. Like, and I was like, okay. And then we get like one of those looks. And then she leaves, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, here I'm going to spend this half hour in this classroom that I don't really what am I doing? I'm supposed to be at practice. But I kept calling my mom, like, after and saying, like, she would always ask me, like, how you doing? I'm very close to my mom. I'm like, I don't know who this teacher is, but there's something about her. I don't know what it is. She hates me. And I don't think I like her, but I think that if I ever got a chance to date her, I'd marry this girl. And she was like, what are you talking about? This is crazy. Like, what are you talking about? So
Yeah.
I basically, like, time goes on. I find out she's engaged. You know, we don't have you know, hi, and goodbye. Like, nobody's talking to each other. And then she breaks off her engagement, like, in December of that year. So this is like 4 months of just not communicating. I thought she was very pretty, gorgeous, but you know, this is tension. And then I found out, you know, she broke off her engagement, so she was in school for like 2 weeks. And my brother had also started gymnastics. I found out she was at the University of Bridgeport gymnastics class coach at night. I didn't know. My practice was in this room, and her practice was in this room at the college, and we had no idea.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
we were at night. We were, you know, 25 feet apart every night. We had no idea. And
Wow.
so I basically went to her one day when she got back in, and I said, you know, my brother is starting gymnastics in college and everything like that. I know you do University of Bridgeport in gymnastics, and that's pretty cool. And she just smiled at me for the first time ever. And she just was kind of like, oh, that's really, really cool. And she said something nice, and then she left. And I was like, full on, like, I'm in love. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Something's wrong with me. So I basically, like, it took me 4 months to get the guts to ask her out. And I was like, slowly but surely. And what was happening was I was spending more time. Like, practice didn't matter anymore. Like, I'm like, late? I don't care. Whatever. I'd go late. And I would stay or I'd clean up extra. I would, like, do whatever. And then one day in April, I said, hey, listen, and I wrote it down before on a card. I was like, you gotta say it right, just say it right. And I chickened out like 2 or 3 times before, and I just said, hey, if you wouldn't mind going out and getting a drink with me sometime. And she was like, okay, sure. Like, that's fine. We'll go out and get a drink. And I was so ecstatic. And she went to nationals, came back, and I planned the date. I checked out the places beforehand. I mean, I spent so much time going over everything, making a
Oh my God, you're so cute.
like this. And in her mind, if she tells the story, it's like, all right, I told this guy, fine, we go out for a drink. Not into me at all. And so I was so in the zone that I said to her, we'll go out for a drink. Right? So my caveman mind is like, drink only. Don't deviate from the plan. Because what if she doesn't want food? If you ask for food, don't ask for food. So, like, she hadn't eaten. So I go pick her up in the day. Like, I pick her up for at night. And she is starving. But I'm drinks, right? I'm drinks. So she said drinks. We said drinks.
Yeah.
So I go, I'm full stomach. And we go to this place called Malto. And we basically... they go to give us the menu to order, and I'm like, no, we drinks, right? You said drinks. I don't want to get in trouble because she said drinks, and she's thinking,
oh my God.
all day, so she gets drunk, like drunk, smashes glasses. We get kicked out of there.
Oh my God.
We get thrown out.
I knew there was a reason I liked you.
Oh
I knew there was a reason
my
I liked
Send her home. I'm like, what is it? She's a party animal. And what she was at the time. She was a party animal. But she just got absolutely drunk, and basically I brought her home safe and sound. And then, you know, I put it to you like this, we never left each other from that day.
Oh,
wow.
That's nice. That's nice.
And we were, and the next night, like, can I get you sushi? Can we bring over? And slowly but surely, it took like a couple of months. But by July, we were into the I love yous. And then by June of the following year, we got engaged. She's a huge Billy Joel fan. And if you know Becky, she is a larger-than-life character. So the Billy Joel cover band, it's called Big Shots. I called them. I said, hey, it's her birthday in this place called Marissa's that we live in the town. Can you come out and play? And during one of the songs, I'd like to come on stage and then, you know, propose on stage. So they did. So we got her on stage, and it was her birthday, and we had all of our friends and family there, and they played We Didn't Start the Fire. She knows every single word of We Didn't Start the Fire. So Becky jumping on stage with the microphone is no problem.
Yeah.
So after she was done, and then I proposed there in front of the thing, and we were married. And
so nice.
But
That
not
is a
me at all.
cool
That's a
story.
really great story.
That's a wicked cool story.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's nice.
totally.
And you
So
guys
I
were
totally
young.
relate.
Yeah, that's fun. I didn't want to get married. There was like no way. Nope. I have all my paper. Yeah, I mean, I was divorced by the time I was 30, so I was like, you know what? We'll just leave that alone. I'll get my will and my life insurance all in place, and we'll have health proxies and stuff. It's very romantic.
And I'll get a hat.
You got a hat, exactly. So
Anyway, so that's
disaster relief loans. So now we know everything about and thank you so much for guys for sharing your stories, because I think you guys are so entertaining and that you're a
my
pleasure
God.
to speak to. You guys start Aurora Consulting. You have the marketing, you have the insurance, you have the loan origination, you have all of these years of experience, and now you're like, you know what? We were going to be we're going to be more marketing consultant, but now we get into the story of how did we get to the disaster relief stuff.
We had dinner. So we moved here from New York in the end of 2016. We bought this beautiful house here in Roxbury, and our first friends here in town live kind of sort of across the road up the hill a little bit, and they invited us over for dinner. And this was probably early 17
yeah.
or late 16. Anyway, so no, it was spring.
Oh no, it was
spring,
late 2017.
late 2017.
It was
that's
a
right.
year after we
Yeah,
moved.
there's a milestone event that we're not going to talk about that is
Yeah.
that not about us, but about her and some business thing. Anyway, so we go to their house for dinner. We have this marvelous dinner. They're really sweet folks, and he owns a manufacturing company, and he relates this story over dinner about needing $500,000 to buy another company. That company had valuable government contracts, and he wanted access to those contracts, so they were buying this company. And he does what every self-respecting business owner does. He goes to his bank, what I like to call the usual suspects. And he goes to his bank because they have his personal accounts, they have his
Business
payroll,
account.
they have his operating account, they got it all. And he figures, and he's going to go in. So 3 months and thousands of dollars in fees later, he's got to send in paperwork. He's got to pay the CPA to prepare the paperwork, and he's got to pay an appraiser.
Yeah.
And, so he says, now mind you, before I tell you the end of the story, our friend, and I'm a kid from the streets of New York City, and Linda, the gal from Westchester County, from Sleepy Hollow, Linda likes to think that's New York City. I keep telling her that was the country for where I came from.
Right.
Anyway, this guy really is, Roxbury is a town with no traffic lights, so he's a real Connecticut Yankee too, salt and pepper hair, and he's got that dry wit and a flannel shirt, and he sits there across the dinner table from us, and he says, so I get the call from the banker, and the banker's so happy. Hey, congratulations, you're approved. Great, $50,000. And our friend says,
No.
I think you left off a zero with that Connecticut Yankee. But what did our friend do? He did what every self-respecting business owner does. They don't take no for an answer. They're going to go and find a source. So he found an attorney who did the money as what we call in the business hard money. So substantially higher interest rate. But he accomplished his goal. He bought the other company because that's what business owners do. So we walked home that night on our dark country lane, me the whole time,
Like
looking
oh my
for
God.
coyotes and
Foxes
whatever.
and bears. Oh my!
What was that noise? And I turned to Linda. I said, I think we just figured out what we're going to do with Aurora Consulting, and that's how we transitioned it.
So then we started going and researching to develop a healthy matrix of lenders for different types of businesses, and
we started networking like crazy.
Networking like crazy every week, just doing that. And we got our first deal with the restaurant owner where we would frequent this particular restaurant. And he was like, I need $100,000 just to it was a relatively new restaurant. So he wanted to have,
he wanted a cash cushion.
Yeah. He wanted a little emergency buffer kind of situation. So we did have someone, we had a lender that we had to fight for and go, we were in New York and Jersey before we got to the lender in Connecticut that we were doing business with by that time. and just we just kept researching on different lenders and different types of businesses and how the business loan brokering, financing brokering, how it worked, right?
Well, my takeaway from my career was, as a mortgage banker, we sell our loans to secondary markets, so your relationships are key. So for us, when we launched the business, it was about having those lender relationships.
Yeah.
So one of the banks I identified as a very large regional bank up here in the Northeast and into the Midwest, upper Midwest, and we had lunch with one of their bankers. We set out to create a relationship. So we had lunch, which he made us drive all the way back to Westchester. He made us pay for the lunch. He ordered the most expensive thing on the menu.
Okay.
And
anyway.
the whole time I had 5 deals on my table, on my desk.
He's not a
and
closer.
I'm like, so listen, I have this situation. It's a restaurant and it just opened and the tax returns aren't filed. I got this situation that he's looking for $150,000. Well, he said, we'll put it in the system. We'll see what happens. I'm like, wait. That I was a loan officer for 30 years. I never said to anybody in my life.
Let's put it in the system.
Even my very first deal I got in November 1989, I didn't say to the guy, I just started in the business. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll see what happens. I said the first 2 things, by the way. That's how I got my first deal. I said to the guy, I'm new in the business. I don't know what I'm doing, but I have a great boss, and we'll take it to him, and my boss will figure it out. We'll make this happen for you. That's how a loan officer who makes deals happen talks. So we walked out of there, and we kept searching because I knew this bank's culture was a culture that was an aggressive, commercial, business-friendly culture, which you don't find typically with traditional banks, and as happened with our friend with a different bank. So we finally got introduced somebody here in Connecticut. She's a firebrand, and she made this deal happen.
Deals.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
what
that's
happened,
how we started.
So then 18 months goes by. We have about 3.5
15
million.
months.
15 months?
Yeah, because we launched in December of
Felt like
2018 and March of 2020.
Right. So 15 months, we had about $3.5 million worth of loans in the pipeline, and COVID hit and evaporated.
Say goodbye to your commission check.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to your financing business. It's all over.
And then so all the lenders went hands on deck to get the PPP going and the EID.
Well, the lenders stopped lending.
They stopped lending on traditional because they were all pivoted to the PPP.
Right.
And so we
had a client in San Diego that we were helping to
Yeah.
Do financing to open a second restaurant. And so March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, we watched our pipeline evaporate. The lenders stopped lending. And we decided on March 18th our pivot will become a trusted resource for people. I had done that in my career. She had done it in hers. We knew that when you're a trusted expert, that you give away free expertise.
Well, we didn't know
anything
about disaster loans and EIDL and PPP. We didn't know anything about that. So we were just focusing on giving updates, daily updates on what we knew, what information we were getting as it was unfolding.
Colored with our experience as professionals in finance. Like, if you as a business owner are going to do this, this is what you should expect. And this is the way to do it the right way. And this is the way to do it the wrong way. But so this client in San Diego called us up and he begged us to do the EIDL, the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And so and
the PPP.
Okay.
Both of them.
It's not always so happy hunky-dory. I'm just saying.
But it's true.
I'm going to put the hat on your head in a second.
He wanted all the money. He wanted whatever he could get.
EIDL. And I download all the documents, I read all the documents, and I turn to Linda, I go, this is a nightmare. He's never going to get this money, but we'll do it. So we put the loan in. But one client, that guy, quickly led to a second client a few days later. He owns 2 restaurants here in Connecticut, and he had tried on his own and was having a hell time, and he has fine dining. So here in Connecticut, he was closed. He was just trying to, prepare his restaurant to not get vandalized and all that. And so that was 2, and then 2 became 5, and then 5 became 40. And then by the end of May and June, we obtained financing for 40 businesses with the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Everybody got approved. contrary to what I thought was going to. I didn't think that it would be approved, and I didn't think these businesses would last 3 months. But we got everybody approved.
Not by any other reason other than how the pace of the funding and how the protocol procedure, all of that, how that was happening with the SBA, and the craziness that was happening when caps started being, imposed.
And we brought to it our sensibility as people who, Linda as an insurance broker argues in her career in insurance with underwriters. I as a mortgage banker argued with underwriters. You can't argue with anybody at the SBA.
Right.
But there is a process. And if you have respect and patience and persistence with the process, you can be successful. And so a lot of what we were doing in those early weeks was really hand-holding our clients who were, on the edge of disaster. And we kept saying, the money's coming. It's going to work. We're working it. Whatever the SBA asked for, we're putting it in there. We're getting it. And we got results.
Yeah.
And then I got COVID.
Well, no, it didn't. Not really like that. But what happened was, so 2 months, so March 18th.
It felt like that's how
to
it
about
happened.
May 25th, all we were doing was sending out emails to our list on things we were seeing that would be required, things that SBA were talking about, and little nuances of the process that we were getting exposed to because we were working the process.
Yeah.
And so we were sending out every day, we were sending out updates to whoever was on our list. And then we started doing videos at the end of May because we felt very confident with all the intel that we had and all, the recon that we were doing. We started doing videos 3 times a week. We would do 3 videos a week to share our experience and tell the stories of that things that people could do to help themselves.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Not thinking this was ever going to
Linda,
develop.
Linda is the marketing goddess in the household. Essentially, our teamwork on marketing is I write the content and come up with the content ideas and send a basic script, which Linda never reads. And the outtakes in our YouTube videos, by the way, are legendary.
Yeah.
And we'll just leave it at that.
And you go to it's AuroraConsulting.com.
Well, that's
AuroraConsulting.biz.
.biz.
And our YouTube is / Linda Ray and Trevor. Linda Ray, REY and Trevor. Yeah. That's our
listening, watching, however, you need to go check that out because, a lot of times the information that's given on these topics are really hard to follow and it's not easy and not entertaining. And I think a lot of people give up at that step just because it's like, I forget it, never mind. And I think that Trevor do a phenomenal job of presenting themselves, presenting the topics, and doing it in a way that people can understand and respect.
Yeah, they're like, the videos started out where they were 2.5 to 3 minutes. Then it became about 4 minutes. So sometimes it's between 3.5 and 5 minutes now.
But costume Trevor's wearing or something like that.
Right. And it's really short, and I edit it so that it can be lighthearted. A lot of sound effects.
Right.
And outtakes.
That's all her. She
does
does all that stuff.
Great.
And we wanted to keep the content like in a snackable version because I knew this from first. My entire career, mortgage banking was first-time buyers with very low down payments, and people who said to me, "You cannot put me in a house, Trevor," and I always approached every client I ever sat with tremendous respect for them as an equal because I knew that I had been in their position back before I was in the mortgage business, and the people I turned to as trusted resources treated me like they were up here and I was down here.
Right.
And all I wanted to do was learn how to become a homeowner. So I always treated my clients with that respect. And I always fed my clients information in a careful step-by-step manner because I felt my responsibility also was to educate clients. This is the reason why we're doing this. And when you make an offer on a house, that's why you do this. And this is why we're asking for that document. And so we've brought that forward into our YouTube videos because these EIDL loans are so complicated if you are the uninitiated in terms of working with applications the way we do every day. So that's why we've broken our videos down to these versions. And we have folks that tell us like, I watched a video with some guy yelling at the camera for 30 minutes and I feel like that's 30 minutes of my life I'll never get back. I didn't learn anything. And I watched a 2-minute video with you guys and I'm good,
Well, talk to, let's get into that, unpack it a little bit. Specifically disaster loan. What's some of the biggest, and this is mainly for business owners, right? That's what this for. What's some of the biggest misconceptions about the disaster relief loan, or biggest things that have changed from the original to maybe what's happening and the change? Because it was like a tsunami wave coming in, and nobody knew what any of this stuff was, but you had to get it, and you didn't know what it was. It was like you got hand sanitizers, face masks, and disaster relief loan, and you don't know where they are or how to get them, but go get them.
Yep.
So, but nobody knew how. So, what's some of the biggest misconceptions, and then going forward, what's changing?
You could do all of them.
No. I only know you're the processor expert, but I will tell you one of the first misconceptions that I saw was that people were disqualifying themselves from getting a loan, getting, whichever type of disaster loan. They were disqualifying themselves without really understanding the nuances of what was possible for them. For example, we have a client right now who was following me on Twitter, and he made a comment, and then we went into the messaging. And he said, I said, well, what happened how'd you do with your PPP? He goes, I didn't file because I'm a sole prop. I go, wait, what? And it was gone by then. By the time he found me.
This was last year.
So they had taken it off the table. And I said, you absolutely can get PPP as a sole prop. And that was just the first time. Thus, after December 27th, even more so, people were contacting us. The more information we gave away, the more our phone was ringing, essentially. And we would hear the stories of despair and hopelessness because they were disqualifying themselves, but at least taking a step towards finding out a little bit more information.
And many people, again, going back to our friend and neighbor across the road, many people did apply, but became so frustrated with the process, not only in the timeline, because they had an expectation on how quickly it should go, and if the timeline went longer, they were frustrated with that. They were already anxious about trying to keep their business alive. So this is like a toxic mix, right? And then if in the SBA process there's documents and as I saw in my career in the mortgage business, and Michael, you know this from your real estate career. You've probably seen mortgage professionals in action with me. Financial people don't always explain things. They just go, all right, listen, I need your tax return, and I need you to write me a letter that why somebody looked at your credit back then, and call me back in an hour. And it's about explaining. So they had this frustration and anxiety with the process. And more than a few of our clients that we're working with right now have said, yeah, I tried it, and then I just gave up. Yeah. I couldn't do it. In fact, client number 2, the fellow who owns 2 restaurants, he owns Centrico Taqueria in Bethel and Lucas Local in Newtown. And he's a great guy. His name is Vince Capello.
Well, the only reason we were saying his name is because
we adore him, and the food's amazing.
And also, we don't usually talk about our clients. So let me just say that.
Well, he has also appeared with us on a live stream, so he's on our YouTube channel.
Yes,
so
yes,
if you go to YouTube, you'll say, "Oh, that must be the guy that Trevor was talking about."
But we do have some clients who are like, "I can't even give you a review because I don't want my name out there."
So he was client number 2, who rang me up and said, "Listen, I know you from my restaurant, and you guys do something with finance, and I tried doing this myself, and I can't. And can you take it over?" And actually he applied for 2 EIDL loans. And 1 was denied, and we got the decision overturned.
Yeah,
and we got it turned around because we have patience and persistence with the process. Well, and so we got it overturned. He got the money, and
the other thing, the other misconception, which I don't even know if it's a misconception more than the frustration and lack of patience, is we've heard this a lot. Plus, with comments on some of our videos. We have a few videos that have done better than others. Of course, I think that happens with everybody. But a lot of them would say, I submitted stuff already or twice before or 3 times.
Or 3 times.
And that leads to doubt, worry, concern, fear, frustration, anxiety, because they think something's not happening, or that it means that they're going to get declined because they're not doing anything and they're delaying.
Let's face it. There is, as a person who was a direct lender for 3 decades and now a financing broker, I'm going to say this: our culture has imbued on consumers and business owners this sense of shame.
Yes.
And this sense of lacking worth when asking to borrow money, whether it's opening a new credit card or asking to borrow money to buy a car or buy a house or a business loan. There tends to be a sense of, and so what happens is people overcompensate by, here's everything you need to the bank. Yeah, what questions you have? I'll give you everything. And not realizing that actually they may be torpedoing their own process.
Right.
And also understanding that they actually have a lot more power than they think they have.
Yes.
Because they're the customer. They don't see, if they walk into your restaurant and they don't like the hamburger, as a customer, they're either never going to come back to your restaurant, or they're going to tell you, I didn't like your hamburger, or they're going to write a Yelp review. But in the financing business, that's not how it works. People think the finance people are like, oh, and we're not. We're not. I mean, just look at me with this stupid hat on my head. I mean, look, I'm a gnome. I mean, we're just normal folks like you, and nobody should approach the lending or borrowing process. So then you add this to COVID, and your business is failing, and it's just
Yeah. Well, and also let me just say this too. Pre-COVID, we had 2 video series that we were doing every week. We had started September of 2019, and we had If Then Thursday and Finance Friday, and it was very general, basically more anecdotal stories about clients and some of the mishaps and missteps of trying to get financing, and how we were teaching people how to be better prepared for you to go to your bank and get financing. Now, sometimes we were throwing the bank under the bus because they
frequently and often
because they, for the most part, you'll have a banker who really is, they'll connect with you on an entrepreneurial level, but most of the time the banks really are trained to say no or figure out a way to not make the deal because they don't want to be at risk for all the money they're going to be loaning you.
Right.
They want the deposits. They want the savings.
There's also regulatory concerns where their hands are tied by certain regulatory concerns.
Got it.
So we wanted to share for 6 months, twice a week, we were doing videos to share that general business financing information. And Michael, it was like total crickets.
Yeah.
Crickets. Okay. And then it wasn't until we started doing Advancing with Financing and focusing on the disaster financing and the step-by-step how-to type videos on how to get money out of the SBA, that we went from, pimping getting subscribers so we can get a custom URL to every day now we have, we've got dozens of people downloading stuff from our website, new subscribers on YouTube without even having to ask for it. We're not we don't have thousands of subs, but
and we're continuing that tradition of being an expert. Again, for my part, in my career as a mortgage banker, I started doing business on the internet in the year 2000. I was a Lending Tree loan officer back then. Mm-hmm. And I quickly discovered the value, if you're in a chat room, of people asking questions. What I watched all the other mortgage professionals do was go, oh, I can help you with that. Here's my phone number. Call me and I'll get you that loan. And I just thought, they didn't come here looking for you, pal.
Yeah.
They have a question. So I would answer the question. So we, again, continue that tradition. So if you go to our website, auroraconsulting.biz, we're giving away all kinds of downloadable, we've got templates that we use in our process in dealing with the SBA.
But yes, and that's all the marketing stuff. But I will just say, I'll say this to you as far as, because this started with misconceptions. So COVID has presented a lot of challenges, but some opportunities. The challenges are, fundamentally the infrastructure of SBA is broken. Okay. It's just broken. But even if it wasn't...
And overwhelmed.
But even if it wasn't broken and overwhelmed, there are some severe disorganization going on with business owners. And until you are looking for financing, are you faced with the fact that there are certain things you could do better in your business?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to state that for the record, that why, it's kind of saddens us a little bit that there are business owners who deserve it because they are good people. They have a great service or a product. They're working very, very hard. But in the end, when it comes to financing, the rules, regs, and guidelines are going to work against us when it comes to getting the money. So we were just trying to give.
If the client is disorganized.
If they're disorganized and have been
to
flying
be
by the seat
clear,
of their pants.
the rules don't work against us here at Aurora Consulting.
No.
We've had. Okay.
No, I didn't mean
I'm
it
having
that
a
way.
hot flash now.
No.
Hi, my gosh.
No, I mean
Hi.
we're in business
I'm
because.
coming, Wheezy.
Okay. Oh, God. We're in business because people were like, I don't really want to do this on my own. What do I need to do? And what do I need to fix? Or what can you do to help me get over this that I couldn't do by myself?
The thing about our results that we've seen, we've had a couple of people say, so who do you know at the SBA that you can call? Is that we don't know anybody. We have there's no magic bullet. There's like no magic to it at all. It's boring.
Patience, persistence, and perseverance.
And process. It's all it is. And paperwork. And Linda loves alliteration. So if you want to throw another P in there, Michael, you're welcome to throw another P in there. But that's really, and our, back in April, May, and June, as I told you, on March 18th, when our first client asked us, and then the second there, I said to her, I go, these loans are never going to get approved.
Yeah.
Because I was reading the SBA paperwork. I was like, oh my, this is before they had the electronic online application. And even then I thought, oh my God, this is never going to work out. I mean, we had already closed a couple of SBA deals and it was tough.
I want to tell a little story I want to tell a quick little story because I know with Michael, with you, time stands still. Literally, the clock has not moved in behind you.
It's literally like.
No, your clock.
Your clock is literally not moving at all.
No.
I love that. It gives your guests a sense of, we got all the time in the world.
Don't worry about all that. That window might change color, but that's not going to move.
Yeah.
All those loans last spring were approved. And since then, we've had many decisions approved, whether they were declined, and then we were able to get it, what's called reconsider. And we look at each other, we're like, there's nothing. It's completely boring.
Let me interrupt you after you've interrupted me because I have menopause and I will forget what I
was
was going to say.
I just had to bail you out from that statement of, things are not happening. Like, what?
No, things are happening. But so I had a very lengthy exchange with someone on the YouTube, one of our videos, I don't remember, and they said, I applied, I got approved, but then they were asking me for more stuff I've already given them. But I don't understand, and they're trying to, and I don't know who this person is because their name has doesn't make sense. But, and I basically
their
had
screen name.
Their screen name. The screen name was
because people say that about
anonymous.
My name. People say Tucker, Terrence, Trent.
No.
Clever, Treasure,
the YouTube
Kevin,
username,
and my all-time favorite, Mr. Trevo.
Okay. Anyway, so I said, listen, there are certain things of your case that we can't really diagnose this on a YouTube comment. So you can schedule an appointment if you like, but it sounds as though you're worrying about something that is no longer a need for you to worry about. If your loan was approved and it's documented with the SBA that they are in control of approving your loan, you didn't make them approve it.
Right.
So sure enough, I woke up this morning and they left a comment. Just wanted to let you know that I finally did get funded, which I knew that they were going to, but he hadn't gotten it yet. He was in the maelstrom of wackadoodle process
anxiety
that SBA has imposed on no sense of. We've been saying for probably 3 months now, where we're just trying to make sense of the nonsense of the disaster of disaster financing, because that's there you go. That's our little tagline.
By the way, just as a little bonus to anybody listening to the podcast or watching, if you are doing this yourself, keep in mind one thing that you can use as a very valuable resource. Use the SBA agents, because in our experience, and I speak to SBA agents 8, 10, 15 times a week to follow up on client files. In 11 months, I'm not kidding, I can count on one hand with 2 fingers the number of times I had an agent who was not useful.
Not
helpful or clueless. But
he's holding up 2 fingers.
I'm holding up 2 fingers for podcast folks. Every other agent, if you... So they really are eager and enthusiastic to help you, and they really will give you clear guidance if you ask the questions.
Yes,
they'll say, yes, do this, and yes, I see in the system you submitted this document. You just have to wait. And sometimes they say you have to wait, and people don't want to take that, and then people start asking more questions, which I knew when I was a loan officer, that was the same thing. But
we did when we first started our advancing with financing, we actually did at least 3 videos just on how to call the SBA, how to check the status of your
how
EIDL,
to speak to an SBA agent,
how to, the common mistakes when you call the SBA, so that people can at least remain calm and get as factual information as possible.
and get valuable information, which will help them understand the process and move to the next step.
Yeah.
We're going to be wrapping up very shortly here. But it was well worth the extra time with you guys. A couple quick questions, fire round questions. And in full disclosure, I am a client. I'm a huge fan, and I am a client, and I'm in the process myself currently going through all the different possible funds, grants, loans I could possibly get my hands on. And it's been so far a phenomenal experience, and I'm excited to
Thank you.
So I can say that's just not BS firsthand that working with these guys is top notch.
Michael.
Disaster relief loan. I know it's hard to say, totally hard to say, but the common questions that I would get with people who are asking these questions to me, someone who's a novice, it's not my thing. Okay, I filled in all my paperwork. How long is that process? Like from when, okay, I have done what you've asked me to do and I am an organized business owner to when I do get approved. Is there any set time or not in control of that?
It's a lot like that clock on the wall behind you. First of all, it can feel like that no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's part of that thing I talked about before with approaching a bank to borrow money. I mean, when I was in the mortgage business, same thing. I'd call you to say, hey, just want to let you know the appraisal came in last night. It's fine. And we're going to move the file to underwriting. Great. When am I closing? Okay, slow down. There's a process. So in terms of timelines, Michael, literally the results at the SBA are all over the map. Mm-hmm. If you are applying for the first time today and you go to the SBA.gov website and you fill out the EIDL application, which we always caution people, be very careful. Don't leave blanks. If there's a numerical value, put a 0 instead of a blank, and double check your work, etc. But if you apply online today, you could be approved tomorrow or 7 weeks from now.
Yeah.
You could be approved next week with no additional documents requested, because it's essentially an eligibility questionnaire where you are saying, this is the information about my business, you submit it, and then you get an email saying you're eligible, and then an email saying you're approved. And sometimes they come back and ask for documents, and sometimes they don't. And again, the timelines are all over the map.
And also, I'd like to add this because, while the control doesn't seem like there is any with the SBA, one of the things that we have tried to explain in some capacity is, to know how to log into your portal and your account so you can check status, because sometimes the SBA doesn't reach out to you to let you know that they need something. So you could be waiting around for a couple of weeks, not realizing they're waiting for you, but you didn't know because you didn't check the portal.
Or they sent you an email and it's been sitting in your spam folder for the last 6 weeks.
So business owners have more control than they think. It's just that they have to be on top of it, and it can't be like, I'll just wait till I hear from somebody because maybe you did.
I always find it astounding when I'm answering questions on the internet when folks say, hey, I submitted the documents 3 weeks ago and I haven't heard anything. What should I do? My answer is always call
them
and speak to an SBA agent and give them your EIDL number. And they will tell you what the status is. Many times the status is like the clock back there. It's just like it's in process. And that's all you're going to get.
Right,
so.
Got it.
Yeah.
But you guys, listen, I mean, this is, for these times that we're living in, what you guys are doing, what you guys are helping people with is some of the best work that you could possibly be doing, because I'm a business owner of multiple different types of businesses, and some have done well, some have been hit really hard. And there's a lot of people out there who need your services, and a lot of people out there who just don't understand and don't know. And they're going to hear this, they're going to watch this, they're going to contact you guys, and you're going to be helping a lot of people. So we're all doing good here around the clock. Is there anything that...
It's our pleasure to help people.
Yeah.
We have a knowledge and expertise to share, and why not try to help people get through this with that?
Well, and with that, to the question that you tried to ask, even though you interrupted him, but we do have a link on our website to schedule a 15-minute free consultation. Most of the time, We'd like you to hire us, sure, but there are many times, many times where we will just tell you how to proceed, and we will not impose on you any kind of hard sell that maybe it's just you have to fill out the 2202 and you don't know how to do that, and we'll just share with you and console and commiserate. So, it really is a free consultation.
Yeah,
Please,
we always try to
really
give valuable
highly.
advice.
Yes, I encourage, get on that consultation. There's not a lot of times in your business career in your life that you're going to be needing these size things with this complexity, and there's also not a lot of times where you're going to have somebody other on the phone like Linda and Trevor. So do it. Pick up the phone, do the consultation. Your family will thank you, your employees will thank you, your business will thank you, and it'll be the best thing that you guys can do one way or the other. Linda and Trevor, is there anything we didn't talk about that you want to add or bring up?
We did not talk about Led Zeppelin, and I'm a little annoyed about that.
I know. I mean, listen, I love telling the story, but I could keep talking about disaster financing. I know we spent about a half an hour on the Trevor story.
We'll do a whole nother one with you guys, and we'll just...
I could talk about Led Zeppelin for about 3 hours. No problem.
Listen, we'll definitely have you guys back on.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It was really nice to see you and talk with you. Thank you so much, and thank you to all the listeners for hanging in there with us.
Thanks for putting up with our goofball zany.
It's been an honor and a privilege. And everyone, please reach out to Linda and Trevor. And Linda and Trevor, thank you so much for being on Leaders of Lifestyle podcast with me.
Thank you, Mike.
This is Mike Ferraro. This is Linda, Trevor. Please, Aurora Consulting. Go to the website. Click on the links below. Follow us on YouTube and .biz. And ladies and gentlemen, until next time, take care.